Have you ever made a wish so strong that it felt like your heart might break? Today, we'll meet Thomas, a lonely watchmaker who learned that true love sometimes means letting go. This is the story of a wooden bird that taught him the greatest lesson of all. Let's begin our journey together. In a small village nestled between rolling hills and whispering woods, there lived a man named Thomas. He was a watchmaker, known throughout the village for his incredible skill with tiny gears and delicate springs. His workshop sat at the end of Maple Street, filled with the gentle tick-tock of hundreds of clocks. But Thomas was lonely. He lived alone above his shop with only the sound of his clocks for company. Every morning he would wake to their cheerful chiming. Every evening he would wind them carefully before bed. The clocks were beautiful, but they could not talk to him. They could not share his joys or ease his sorrows. One autumn day, as golden leaves danced outside his window, Thomas found himself staring at a piece of smooth oak wood. The wood was perfect, with no scratches or marks. As he held it in his weathered hands, an idea bloomed in his mind like a flower in spring. "I will carve something beautiful," he said to himself, his voice echoing in the quiet shop. For 7 days and 7 nights, Thomas worked on his creation. His skilled fingers carved tiny feathers, each one perfect and delicate. He shaped a small beak, sharp and proud. He carved bright eyes that seemed almost real. When he finished, he held in his hands the most beautiful wooden bird anyone had ever seen. The bird was magnificent. Its wings were spread wide, as if ready to soar through the sky. Its feathers were so detailed that they seemed to shimmer in the lamplight. Thomas had never created anything so perfect. But as he placed the bird on his workbench, sadness filled his heart. The bird was beautiful, yes, but it was only wood. It could not sing the sweet songs that filled the forest each morning. It could not fly or dance in the air. It could not be his friend. That night, Thomas held the wooden bird close to his chest. He closed his eyes and made a wish with all his heart. "Please," he whispered to the stars outside his window, "please make my bird real. I am so lonely. I need a friend who can sing to me and keep me company. Please, I wish for nothing else in this world." His wish drifted out through the open window, carried by the cool night breeze into the deep forest. There, ancient trees swayed in the moonlight, and magic still lived in the shadows. A forest spirit, as old as the hills themselves, heard Thomas's heartfelt wish. The spirit had watched the lonely man for many years, seeing how kindly he treated all living things. Thomas never hurt the small creatures that visited his garden. He always left seeds for the winter birds. He had a good heart. The spirit glided through the night air, invisible as morning mist, and entered Thomas's workshop. She looked at the wooden bird and saw the love that had been carved into every feather. She saw the loneliness in Thomas's sleeping face. Her magical heart was moved. "I will grant your wish, kind Thomas," she whispered, her voice like wind through leaves. "But remember this, a bird must always be free to fly. Love that cages is love that destroys." The spirit touched the wooden bird with her glowing finger. Golden light flowed from her touch, warming the carved wood. Slowly, very slowly, the bird began to change. First, its wooden eyes blinked. Then its chest began to rise and fall with breath. Its feathers became soft and real, colored like autumn leaves, gold and orange and deep brown. Finally, the bird opened its tiny beak and sang the most beautiful song Thomas had ever heard. Thomas woke to the sound of that magical song. He could hardly believe his eyes when he saw his wooden bird hopping along his workbench, very much alive. "Hello, little friend," Thomas said softly, his voice full of wonder. The bird tilted its small head and sang again, as if answering him. The song filled the workshop with joy and warmth. Thomas felt his lonely heart grow light for the first time in years. From that day forward, Thomas was never alone. The bird would sit on his shoulder while he worked, singing gentle melodies that made even the most difficult repairs seem easy. It would eat crumbs from his hand and listen when he talked about his day. But as the weeks passed, Thomas began to worry. What if the bird flew away? What if it left him and never came back? The thought filled him with fear. He had been lonely for so long, and now he had found the perfect friend. He could not bear to lose it. In the corner of his shop sat a beautiful golden cage that a customer had never claimed. Thomas looked at it and had a terrible idea. "Just for a little while," he told himself, "just to keep my friend safe." One morning, while the bird was sleeping peacefully on its perch, Thomas gently picked it up. The bird woke and looked at him with trusting eyes. Thomas's hands shook as he opened the golden cage door. "I'm sorry," he whispered, tears beginning to fall. "I love you too much to let you go." He placed the bird inside the cage and closed the door with a soft click. The moment the cage door shut, something terrible happened. The bird's bright eyes grew dim. Its soft feathers hardened back into carved wood. Its warm body became cold and still forever. In Thomas's hands was once again only a wooden bird, lifeless and silent forever. Thomas cried out in anguish. He opened the cage door, but it was too late. The magic was gone. The spirit's warning echoed in his mind. Love that cages is love that destroys. He had lost his friend not to the sky or the forest, but to his own fear and selfishness. The workshop fell silent again, except for the tick-tock of his lonely clocks. Thomas learned the hardest lesson of all that day. True love means wanting the best for someone even when it hurts your own heart. True love means letting those you care about be free to choose their own path, even if they might choose to leave you. He kept the wooden bird on his workbench forever after, a reminder of the friend he had briefly known and the love he had learned to understand. And sometimes, late at night, he could swear he heard the faint echo of a beautiful song carried on the wind from the free birds in the forest. Have you ever had to let someone or something go because you loved them? How did it feel?